YouTube was created in 2005 not as a competitor to television, but as a platform for anyone to upload whatever they wanted. To give the voiceless a chance to have a voice on the information superhighway in the form of parodies, skits, video blogs, slice of life moments, or even just creating their own homemade videos to license music. The name for this website was appropriate, YouTube, as in you can tube anything you want. You can be a part of the noise, or you can just tune in and find like-minded people. It wasn't until it was bought by Google, which happened immediately the following year of its inception, that there came restrictions on what you could say, talk about, and while intentions of some of those rules seem favorable, many of the restrictions fell on conservative viewpoints for the sake of being advertiser-friendly. If YouTube doesn't outright ban a conservative or a Christian channel altogether, then it often suppresses such channels, from being seen by fresh eyes in the form of shadow banning. Otherwise, the algorithm can surprise you in good ways and bad ways. Sometimes you'll be rewarded with a great channel you never heard of after frequenting a certain topic, like in my case. It was how I found Joe McLean and Station of the Cross Radio, and that was when he interviewed exorcist Father Carlos Martins in 2024. Then there are times when I watch one video of someone's life update and that suddenly opened a floodgate of all these vloggers that talk about their dissatisfaction with life, their mental health, their social problems, and the list goes on. At first, I like to give a benefit of the doubt. I'm sure not all of these vloggers are equal. Most of what I've seen, they happen to be women. A lot of them are women with very few to no friends at all, not in any romantic relationships. They're not entirely ugly, and they're very open about their lack of relationships, among being very open on a public platform such as this to the point they might actually regret it in just a couple of years. The phrase, "the internet is forever," exists for a reason. This isn't what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No, this is the internet. What happens on the internet can haunt you for the rest of your life. It's all too easy for the wrong person to copy and paste the URL to someone's video and download it for whatever purpose they please later on. Not only that, in the world of artificial intelligence and face matching, you could practice extra caution about what you want to be open with on this platform. That's why people turn to Reddit, where they can hide their faces, hide their names, hide their identities, completely remain anonymous while opening up about whatever relevant problem they're facing. Even on Reddit, however, you should practice caution because hackers are a real thing and they're capable of getting some dirt on anyone they want for whatever reason they want dirt on someone. Not only that, but then there's the gooners, the simps, the hopeless romantics, the delusional, the obsessive people. Stalkers are a danger that women still, to this day, take for granted, and if you're already seeking companionship from random viewers on the internet, then someone tends to take that as an open invitation for something more. For example, in the year 2022, a well-known YouTuber was stalked by a 60-year-old truck driver who actually thought God himself instructed him to marry this female YouTuber. Regardless of where people like to get such ideas, the fact remains that people are not okay in the head these days. Mental health is at an all-time low, and there's little to nothing our country takes all that seriously about it. I could make a whole video series on the impacts from our modern-day work culture and government makes in favor against the mental well-being of modern Americans. Modern-day American professionals seem to glorify habits that lead to burnout and brag about it on LinkedIn, a social media platform that's regarded as Facebook but for employers, which to me never sounded like a good idea to begin with. All of these platforms give a voice to the voiceless when some of them simply needed something else. Social media tends to fuel our pre-existing main character syndrome. We already are the main characters in our own stories from our perspective, so therefore we must be the main characters in the stories of anyone that we encounter anywhere in the globe. We have a large void to fill in our lives, but all we're filling it with is what fuels our own narcissism. That can't be healthy. Likes, comments, congratulations, positive vibes, view counts, all of which continue to fill our narcissism. Which do you think between the two genders are most notorious for insatiable narcissism? I won't deny there are a lot of men that fill that quota, but how many times have we seen women talk down about or to men on our screens in just the past 10 years alone? Ever hear of the site OnlyFans? Which of the two genders do you think dominates that entire site? Why would YouTube be viewed any differently by women looking for a more modest way of filling their narcissism and monetize it that doesn't involve spreading lewd images of themselves across the globe? Anyway, to further my point about fueling narcissism and that lonely men should beware of the lonely e-girl YouTube category, I've seen a channel of a young woman openly expressing her mental illness and just a few days later uploading a video celebrating her new sponsorship. All of these vloggers are meant to be taken with a massive truckload of salt. We're all aware of women being too open on TikTok, expressing either their success with taking advantage of a man or expressing their frustration with being rejected by men. I'm not sure if this still happens today, but there was a video category, a genre I should say, of alluring women wearing revealing clothing that left little to the imagination, recording themselves working out at the gym and catching men giving them long stares in the background so that they can just take it to the internet to complain about it. In 2025, a growing internet personality some people may have heard of by the name of Sarah Stock rose in popularity with her conservative views and conversion toward Catholicism. All the while, behind the scenes, she was allegedly having an affair with her boss, allegedly cheating on her boyfriend at that time up until her engagement with Will Setka. All throughout 2025, Sarah Stock was promoting traditional values, marriage, raising families, Catholicism, had guest spots on podcasts with Tim Pool. I believe she did with Tim Pool. For sure, Dr. Taylor Marshall and Amber Rose, the religious hippie. If she were honest about her traditional values, whether or not the affair was legitimate, she should have stayed off the platform and followed 1 Timothy 2:12, where St. Paul instructs, "But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence." Let's pause on that, because a lot of people misconstrue that. I understand there have been times during the lives of many saints that tend to bend that rule a little, but never once did any woman saint usurp male authority. You can go ahead and throw them all at me. Throw all the names. Not St. Catherine of Siena, not St. Therese of Avila, and especially not our Blessed Mother Mary. Name me a female saint that had to correct a male leader, and I will remind you that they did not do so to usurp authority over them, something the writers behind the movie Cabrini failed to comprehend. Then again, that's somewhat the problem with many of these non-religious vloggers, is that they are so open to share their personal lives and struggles to the unseen faces through the internet, but when will they prioritize sharing their struggles with the Holy Spirit? Well, YouTube recommended me a video of a European woman in her early 30s expressing her regret of wasting her 20s. I left an encouraging comment that read, maybe not verbatim, but something along the lines of, "If we knew the future, then we would eliminate the challenges in our lives that lead to molding us into stronger selves. Also, God may use our challenges to do more than serve our own selfish interests, such as serving others in similar or worse struggles." Okay. Not bad, right? Food for thought? Now, what's your opinion on that comment? Go ahead and let me know. Was I being mean with that comment? Because what I'm about to tell you isn't all that shocking. She simply deleted my comment. Probably because I mentioned God, which is what a lot of women are known for rejecting these days. Now, you might argue that women tend to be more religious or attached to their faith than men, but I will throw this back at you once again and say, older women. Specifically, clarifying, it's older women that are more religious. Not so much the younger women. Younger men are likely to convert to Christianity than younger women. I've seen more modern day women younger than the age of 50 have nothing but vitriol toward the faith, specifically Christian faith, at least from my own personal perspective. Then you have women under 50 who do convert, but then you wonder, but did they really though? Then there are women who want to treat the Catholic faith like it's some kind of voodoo witchcraft. Let me lay the groundwork of my point with this video.
I've been Catholic for exactly 1 week, and I've had the ability to go to daily mass and receive Jesus in the Eucharist, and I wanted to speak on the miracle that has happened by receiving Jesus in the Eucharist every day. Just a little recap. When I was 19 years old, I was diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. When I was 23, I went into remission, and at the age of 30, I developed a flare, which it drastically affected like every single area of my life in a negative way. Going into Easter Vigil, I had already been sick for almost the entirety of March. So when you are in an autoimmune flare, your immune system is like shot. Any little sickness you're exposed to, it just puts a huge toll on your immune system. So I was not feeling good already. After receiving the Eucharist for the first time, I did notice it's like a burst of energy. And let me just make it clear, literally nothing gives me energy. I suffer from horrible fatigue. So that was the first thing I noticed. And then when I continued to receive the Eucharist every day since then, each day I'm getting more and more energy. I'm like, is this placebo? Like, is this all a mind trick? But then I'm like, it literally can't be a mind trick because I wasn't even able to physically go out every single day. So just the fact that I can go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we're here Saturday, and I have more energy than I did at the beginning of the week. So yes, I believe that Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist and all of his sacraments. And through the Eucharist, he is healing my body, and he is bringing me to life.
Miracles should be treated with skepticism until they are proven by the authority of the Church, plain and simple. New converts especially need to respect that. In summary, I suspect this woman is only monetizing off the faith with fake miracle stories to boost her own channel. With that logic, why wouldn't women also do the same with fake mental health stories? E-girls need to understand that the comment section is not your surrogate boyfriend. You have no idea who you're opening up to. You don't even know whether or not you'll regret sharing certain things 2 years or 2 weeks from now. On a platform where you can easily monetize your oversharing, viewers ought to practice some skepticism as well. There are a lot of lonely men in the world, and YouTube alone has especially exploited lonely men since, well, Lonely Girl 15 from back in 2006. Never heard of her? Go ahead and Google her. I have no issue with journaling. If you want to share your thoughts, then your first resort should be to write them down somewhere. Take up poetry, take up story writing, take up drawing or painting, learn an instrument, but you should especially take it to God in prayer privately through Jesus before you share it with complete strangers on the internet. The best poets, musicians, artists were usually at their prime when they were going through a depressive period of their lives. That could be you too, but in a less exploitative way. Of course, this doesn't exactly solve our simp situation, which has grown out of control since the dawn of the internet, so my sequel to this video will have to be addressing the simp epidemic. I guess if there's any one particular gender that's most likely to listen to my points in this video, however, it would be the men. Modern women are notorious for not accepting personal responsibility. Typically, the modern male is more open to change. So I guess my closing statement is for the men, because women are not known for listening these days. Men, beware of the mentally ill e-girls. You might think you have a shot with them, but you don't. And you might want to believe that they're being genuine, but treat them with a massive truckload of salt. That's all I have for today. Happy feast day of St. Dymphna. Honor her by giving her your loneliness in a St. Dymphna prayer today.